Did you know that the Earth is going to be destroyed?
This is Caden Pody. He's an evangelical Christian who built a sizable following on social media as a gospel musician. His father is gospel musician and pastor Stan Pody of the Rhema Bible Church, a non-denominational church that pulls its ideology from a number of other denominations. To answer Caden's question, did I know the Earth would one day be destroyed? Sure I did. Planets are not permanent objects in the universe. They eventually die and become barren masses of rock in space, and sometimes they even collide with other planets and are totally obliterated. They can also be drawn into their host stars, or even sometimes into black holes. What can we say? Space be scary out there. In the cosmological future of our own planet, there are two major unavoidable events. The first is when our sun's luminosity increases to the point that the planet will no longer be able to sustain its water cycle, thus leading to the inevitable extinction of all life. But that's not going to happen for another 1.6 billion years. The second is when our sun enters the next phase of its life cycle. Having exhausted all of its hydrogen fuel, it will transition into a red giant. When that happens, Earth, along with Mercury and Venus, will be swallowed up by the expanding star. But that's not projected to occur for another 5 billion years. Barring any rogue planets or wandering black holes, we have some time. That is, unless climate change renders the planet temporarily inhospitable to human life. Gamma ray bursts are also a kind of constant threat, but we've long since learned to live with that existential uncertainty. So yeah, we're aware that one day the Earth will be inhospitable to life and will one day be destroyed. But in all likelihood, humanity will either be long off this planet or long extinct before either of those events take place.
The first time that God destroyed the Earth, he destroyed it by water.
It's well understood that the biblical flood account is actually a combination of two previously existing myths. Couple that with the physical evidence and logical entailments, we can conclude unequivocally that the biblical flood did not occur. Try again, Caden.
God said the next time it'll be destroyed by fire, though.
Just because it says it in a book doesn't make it true. Caden, you're begging the question of your entity's existence to proclaim anything to anyone. There are thousands of apocalypse scenarios included in thousands of faiths throughout human history. Most have long since passed, and here we still stand.
It'll destroy all the grass on the face of the Earth.
While I'm betting that in the future you'll likely try to conflate climate change with death by fire, keep in mind, Caden, that would just be the fallacy of post-diction.
There will be evil angels unleashed to kill 1/3 of the Earth's population as well.
Someone's been spending a little bit too much time in the book of Revelation. Try and remember, Caden, the revelation to John is largely metaphorical and mostly pertains to the Christian fear that the Nero Redivivus legend, that Nero would return after his death in 68 AD, would come true. And if you try and connect the slow drying up of the Euphrates due to climate change as a sign of the end times, that's also post-diction.
You can notice your heart beating a little faster right now.
Nope, because it's not the first time I've heard this kind of nonsense that's used to try and spread fear and ultimately pull people under the authority of the church. Because what better way to get people's money and control their behaviors, thoughts, and emotions than by making them terrified of something that they can't possibly avoid? This kind of cult indoctrination is well understood. For reference, Caden, you may want to look into the Hassan bite model. I think you'll be terrifyingly surprised.
It's probably because you're not ready for the rapture.
Strangely, not all Christians believe in the rapture, and that's because belief in the rapture is not one of the major tenets of Christianity. Remember, Caden, the cult that followed the planet's most overqualified carpenter around believed that he would return in short order. They didn't believe it would be 2,000 plus years until his return, which is why interpretations of the second coming, or what I like to call the great edging, have consistently changed over the centuries to reconcile the fact that it still hasn't occurred. Just like any of those other pesky apocalypses every other so-called prophet got wrong.
Go click the pin links and comments to make sure you're ready, and subscribe.
One thing I will give Caden credit for, he is a master of self-promotion and working that algorithm. While his end times nonsense is a result of his indoctrination at such a young age and has now obviously become entirely self-serving, were we to take anything away from this short vid, it certainly won't be the existential dread that he and his family are trying to spread amongst the desperate and ignorant so they can secure donations and sell more of their music albums. It'll be how we can time our plugs better so that we can better reach a wider audience. Be safe, be excellent to each other. I'll see you next time.